من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين وبعد. Inshallah, in today's lesson we want to finish off the discussion that we started off last week, and that was the practical demonstration of both wudu and of salah. We managed to go through the practical demonstration of wudu, and we have now to go over the practical demonstration of salah, and this comes after, of course, having studied these both in theory, wudu and salah, and its preceding classes, which were to do with like shahada, how we believe in. The very first lesson was literally what is Islam, what is Iman, what does it mean to be a Muslim, and so on. And so this is, I believe, lesson number 26 or 7. And after today's lesson, which is a practical demonstration of salah, hopefully, inshallah, would have reached a milestone, i.e., we've learned how to, we've completed technically, not fully, but more or less the first two pillars of Islam, which is the faith aspect as well as the salah aspect, how to pray. Inshallah, I'm going to try and keep it as quick and simple as possible. We do make the intention, and then often we do get, so it gets a bit longer afterwards. And there's nothing wrong with that, of course, because it's important that we cover it properly rather than just rushing through it. But inshallah, we'll still try to be as swift as possible. Bi-idhnillah azza wa jal. Okay. So, if you remember, in a couple of lessons ago, a couple of lessons previous to today's, we spoke about what are the integrals of salah. Before that, we spoke about the conditions of salah. Then we spoke about the integrals of salah, the fara'id of salah, then wajibat of salah, then the emphasized sunan of salah, then the etiquettes and adab of salah. I'm going to run you through them very quickly, just so that we're on the same page, and then we'll do a practical demonstration, inshallah azza wa jal. You guys can hear me, because for some reason I can't hear myself today. I've got something like some sort of a noise in my ear. Allahu alam what is, Allah give me shifa. But I could like a thudding on my left ear and on my right ear. So I feel like you can't hear me. But inshallah, if you can, that's good. Okay, so brilliant. In the conditions of salah, number one, before you go into salah, you got to make sure that you yourself as a person are in a ritual state of purity. Meaning you don't need wudu and you don't need ghusl. Meaning you have both wudu and you have both ghusl, number one. Number two, that your physical body is free from any filth on your body or your clothes and your place of worship. Right? So you yourself have wudu and ghusl, number one. Number two, your clothes, your body, and the place you're about to pray doesn't have any impurity and najasat on it, except for the minute amount which are pardonable or excusable. That's an exception. But of course, generally we try to be 100% pure in our body and clothes and the place of worship. Number three, you need to make sure before you start your salah that you're covering your awrah. You can't pray your salah while exposing your awrah. So that means for a man, you've got to make sure you cover your awrah, which means from the navel to below the knee. And for a woman, that means her whole entire body, except for the face, the hands, and the feet. If a sister is praying with her hair shown, then her salah, her awrah is not covered. And so therefore her salah will not be valid. Because this is a condition of salah. This is a shart of salah, that your awrah is covered. So number three is ensuring that your awrah, because sometimes you find certain people are praying without covering the awrah properly. So you need to be careful about that. Sometimes some people are covering the awrah, but it becomes exposed. Many times I find brothers in the masjid, they are wearing clothes, maybe trousers, and because they're not covering the awrah properly, maybe the trouser is not raised enough properly, some of the awrah becomes exposed, especially when they go to ruku' and sujood. You have to be extremely careful about this. If your awrah is becoming exposed from the back, your lower back, then your salah is not valid. So please be careful about that. Sometimes, that's for brothers. Sometimes for sisters, you have certain sisters pray without their scarf or with partially their scarf. Again, this is something to be very careful about, that you need to make sure your whole body is covered except for the face and your hands and your feet. That's for the sisters. For the women, that it has to be covered as a part of the third condition before your salah. Number four, you are facing the qibla. Number five, the prayer time is correct. Prayer time is correct. You have to pray on time every single time. There are only very limited few exceptions where you may, for example, when you're traveling or when you're traveling, or for example, when you're traveling and you're joining, that's probably literally about it. If you follow this opinion that you're allowed to join between prayers and pray out, for example, Dhuhr and Asr at the time of Dhuhr, and Maghrib and Isha at the time of Isha. But apart from that, إِنَّ الصَّلَاةَ كَانَتْ عَلَى الْمُؤْمِنِينَ كِتَابًا مَوْقُوتًا. So condition number 5 is that your entrance of the prayer time is accurate. Your salah time is correct. Number 6, you have to make the intention of the salah, which is in your heart, in your mind and in your heart. And number 7 is the takbiratul tahrim, Allahu Akbar, which is the transitional phase, the transit. It's like the airport from outside of salah to the inside of the salah. It's the terminal from outside salah and takes you into the inside of the salah, such that some of the ulama have said that the takbiratul tahrim is a part of salah, while others have said it's actually a condition of the salah. Do you see? So it's a transitional phase. So ultimately, these 7 conditions must be met before a person begins the salah. Now come to inside the salah. What are the most integral fara'id of the salah, without which the salah is not even possible, doesn't exist? And if you miss any of these, then the salah, you cannot repair it except that you can make it up, you can redo it. These are the structure and the skeleton of the salah. What are they? The first takbir, the opening takbir, number 1. Number 2, standing. The standing is a part of the salah. And so therefore, if somebody is lazily skipping their standing in salah, they are not fulfilling their salah. Many brothers, mashallah, they walk to the masjid, but they can't stand for salah. Lo and behold, they walk to the masjid, but when it comes to salah, they want to sit down. What's going on here? We need to examine. But sometimes, of course, someone's got a medical reason they need to sit down in a chair for ruku' and sujood. Understandable. If someone's a wheelchair user, it's understandable. But we have seen sometimes some people are fine, they're healthy, but when it comes to salah, they want to sit down. No, standing is a part of the salah, and so you must stand if you can stand for salah. So takbirah, tahrima, the first takbir. Number 2, standing for salah. Number 3, recitation of the Quran. So you might say, hold on, you're missing thana, subhanakallahum. We're coming. Thana is sunnah. It's not wajib. We're talking about integrals in order. The fundamentals without which the salah will be invalidated. So recitation of the Quran. Recitation of the Quran is the 3rd integral, the skeletal part of the salah. Number 4, ruku' is the 4th most important thing in salah in order, chronological order, in order of the actions of salah. If someone misses ruku', is their salah valid? Of course not. If they miss ruku', can they repair their salah? They must redo their salah. So ruku' is an integral of salah. Number 5, sujood. You can't have salah without sujood. And if you miss your sujood, then you must redo your salah. And number 6 is the final sitting at tahiyyat. Because if you miss the first sitting, the middle sitting, imagine you're praying a 3 rak'ah salah or a 4 rak'ah salah, you miss the middle sitting. That middle sitting is wajib, but not fard. So if you miss the middle sitting, then you can do sajda sahwa and you can repair it. However, if you miss the last sitting, argument's sake, someone went to sajda, and from sajda they went home straight away. From sajda straight to the exit. I don't know how they did that. If they did that without the tashahhud, last tashahhud, then their salah will not be validated. It will be batil. It will not be accepted whatsoever. So these are 6 integrals of salah. Okay? Tahrima, standing, Quran, ruku', sujood, and tashahhud. The last tashahhud. Now come to, we've said conditions of salah, arkan of salah, integrals of salah. Now come to wajibat of salah. Things which are mandatory in salah, but their level is just below the integrals. But they are absolutely important. It's a technical difference, but they are absolutely important. What are they? What are they? What are the wajibat of salah? There are 13 listed here. And they are to say Allahu Akbar. With your takbirat al-tahrima, you say Allahu Akbar. To say Allahu Akbar is wajib. To recite Fatiha. In the integrals, you said to recite Quran. But wajib is that it should be Fatiha. Fatiha. Number 2, recitation of Fatiha. Number 3, to do the above recitation, To recite Fatiha, sorry, number 2 was Surah Fatiha as well as a Surah after Fatiha in any of the 2 rak'at of the obligatory prayer and in all rak'ats of the Sunnah or Nafil prayer. Okay, so Allahu Akbar, Fatiha and Surah in the first 2 rak'at of the Fard prayer and in all rak'at of the Nafil or the Sunnah prayer. Number 3 is that these, okay, so I don't want to complicate it too much, so I want to say Allahu Akbar is the first wajib. Second wajib is that you should recite Fatiha and Surah in the first 2 rak'at of a Fard prayer and all rak'at of the Sunnah or Nafil prayer. And then we come to perform the prostration with most of the forehead and the most of the forehead and the hard part of the nose So it is absolutely wajib that when you go to sajda, your head and your nose are touching the ground. Otherwise your salah, your sajda and the wajib of it would not be fulfilled. To perform the second prostration before moving on to other parts of the prayer, to do both sajdas. To be still for a moment. The 6th wajib is that you should, when you do your actions of salah, in each and every single one, you are spending some time in each and every single one. Number 7 is the first sitting. So it's tashahhud. We have Rambo said the last one is mandatory. Is integral. But the first sitting is wajib. I know it's going to be a bit complicated for some, but if you are following our lesson from the beginning, you've seen time and again we've explained that there is a slight difference between wajib and fard in the Hanafi school of law, and that is actually quite specific to the Hanafi school of law. And so wajib is important, but a little bit less in category than fard. And so we're mentioning the wajibat now. To recite, number 8, to recite the entire tashahhud in both sitting. To say at-tahiyyatu lillah wa salawatu wa tayyibat, the whole dua in both first and last sitting. To say assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. To recite qunut in the witr prayer. To recite Allahumma inna nasta'inuka or Allahumma hadina fi man hadayt or any other qunut. To recite it in your witr prayer is also wajib. To recite also now, if you are outside the normal salawat, then it's also saying from the wajibat is to pray the extra takbirat of Eid Salah. This is not for the normal salahs. For the Eid prayers, you've got to say the extra takbirat. And also from the wajibat of salah is that the imam recite the Quran loud in the first 2 rak'at of the loud obligatory prayers. Yes. It's not working, unfortunately.
Is it?
Yeah.
Sister wants to see. Okay, sister.
Unfortunately, because I think there's some work going on there, that's why the TV is not working. And so from the wajibat of salah also is that we should pray loud in the parts of loud. So where do you pray loud? You pray loud in Fajr, you pray loud in the first 2 rak'at of Maghrib, you pray loud in the first 2 rak'at of Isha, and you pray loud in Jumu'ah as well. Or if it's Salatul Khusuf and Kusuf, or perhaps no, let's stick to the normal ones, in the Fajr and in the Maghrib and in the Isha and in the Jumu'ah. Okay, in those ones. That's the conditions, integrals, i.e. fara'id, and wajibat covered. 3. Number 4 now. What are the emphasized sunnahs? These are very, very important that you do them in salah, but their level of importance is not as the first 2. Going back again in order, that when you're doing a takbir al-tahrima, you raise your hands parallel to the level of your ears, like that. Of course there is some ikhtilaf, yeah? Some ulama have said in the other schools of law that it should be up to your shoulders. But according to Hanafis, it's up to their ears, like that. To keep the fingers spread apart when you say takbir al-tahrima. So not like this, like that in takbir al-tahrima. For a man, when you pray salah, is that you place your right hand over your left hand is also from the sunnah of the salah. To tie your hands and in this fashion, such that your left hand is below the right. To pronounce the opening supplication of the prayer, thana, is also from the sunnah. To pronounce the ta'awudh, a'udhu billahi minash shaitan rajim, in the first rak'ah of the salah only, is also from the sunnah of the salah. To pronounce the basmala, to say bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim before Fatiha in every single rak'ah, this is considered to be sunnah and not wajib. Because bismillah, according to some of the qurra, or the qurra, Imam Asim and so on, some of the qurra of Kufa and perhaps others, some of the as authentic narration from the Prophet ﷺ, bismillah is not a part of Fatiha. And the first ayah of Fatiha is Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. But other scholars have maintained that Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim is indeed a part of Fatiha itself. And so because Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, according to these scholars, with whom the Hanafi scholars have agreed in the law department, they've said that Bismillah, to pronounce Basmala before the Fatiha is not wajib, it's sunnah. It's not wajib, it's sunnah. And then to say Ameen after the Fatiha is also sunnah. To say Rabbana lakal hamd after the ruku' is also sunnah. To say the A'udhu billahi minash shaitan rajim and the Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim and Ameen and Rabbana lakal hamd, all of these to be quietly is from the sunnah as well. From the sunnah. So now let me spin on this. If someone, so you've just read that it's sunnah for you to recite it, Ameen quietly. If someone read it loudly, even according to the Hanafi school of law, is there anything problem with that? Because it's not from the fara'id nor is it from the wajibat. Rather, according to other scholars, it is sunnah to say it loudly. So the reason why I'm highlighting is because, in Bangladesh or other parts, they're fighting over stuff like this. They make different mosques based on who says Ameen loudly and Ameen quietly. This is not right. This is too much. There's a level of rigidity which is not from the Sharia. Allahu a'lam. Perhaps these people have their own explanation, but
Are these mosques based on what you just said, or based on the?
So they believe that saying Ameen loudly is like so serious that.
On the different madhab,
No, like some of these people, they believe that saying Ameen loudly is such a big problem that this person shouldn't be saying it in my mosque. But we've just seen here that saying Ameen quietly is sunnah. So saying Ameen loudly is sunnah according to other scholars. So either way is sunnah. And over that, we're creating division and disunity in a community, in a ummah sometimes,
Do you think it's wise, when you're going somewhere where they'll be reciting quietly, to recite quietly rather than,
Yes,
fitna?
that is also true. I 100% agree with that. That if you know that this particular masjid,
Especially going back.
yes, 100%. I agree with this as well. That if you know that this masjid is this masjid will take the level of offense. That's a good point. Thank you for reminding me that. It's actually good. It's a valid point. That if you go to a masjid and you know that everyone says it quietly here, and if you say it loudly, you're going to cause confusion or you're going to cause a disruption, then you want to still say it loudly, then you're also at fault, aren't you? Because it's a sunnah, jaiz sunnah to say it quietly. Why are you trying to oppose it and cause a fitna? If you especially know it's going to cause a fitna. And for the other party who are getting so angry that it's leading to warfare, modern warfare, then it shouldn't be the case as well. A bit of calming down is required. A bit of knowledge is required. I'm probably going to get in trouble for this. But khair, inshallah.
how's a non-Muslim meant to pray if they don't know any surahs, for example?
They are supposed to learn slowly. Initially, they can just recite any verses of the Quran that they know.
If they don't know any.
Even Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, or even Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin, anything. In the meantime, even if they don't know that, they can say any tasbih, any tahmeed, or even just the physical position. One by one, slowly by slowly. They can maybe even read by looking. That's for a learning process. Okay? So these are all gradual processes that one can follow. For the Imam to say takbirs loudly is sunnah. To say the takbirs for going into bowing on prostration as well as on rising. So these takbirat are from the sunnah. To recite the tasbih 3 times in bowing and prostration, tasbih minimum 3 times or in other odd numbers. To recite Fatiha in the last 2 rak'ahs. To send salutations upon the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ in the final sitting in the tahiyyat. After the tahiyyat, Allahumma salli, Allahumma barik is also from the sunnah. Means if someone didn't pray the Allahumma salli, Allahumma barik in the salah, you'd be missing the sunnah, but the salah will still be valid. Sorry? Yeah? To supplicate afterwards is also from the sunnah. Allahumma inni zalamtu nafsi zulman kathira is sunnah. Now, look, this is the problem. Sometimes you seek knowledge and you think, I didn't know that. There's a way about this. So that means it's sunnah, that means I can leave it. No, sunnah means you should do it. But because it's a fiqh class, we have to say the differences. Like the level of importance is different based on the level of evidence behind each action, each ibadah. There you have the sunnah. Now come to the etiquettes. So we done conditions, fara'id, wajibat, sunan. Now etiquette, adab. Okay? From the adab and the manners of salah is that if you have your hands inside like a loose sleeves, you should take it out. And that when your glance and your eyes should be in the place of prostration when you're standing. And when you're in ruku', you should be faced towards your feet. And when you're sitting down in tashahhud, you should be faced towards your eyes should be faced towards your lap. Also from the manners of salah is that you should abstain and try to refrain from any excessive noise like coughing and sneezing. As much as you can, refrain from it. Some people only cough in salah, or all of their sneezing is gathered for salah. That happens sometimes. Maybe it's a distraction. Of course, maybe I'm exaggerating as well. But it's true that we should try to refrain from coughing and sneezing and yawning. Because for some reason, as soon as you start salah, your ears are itching, your arms are itching, your belly is itching, you're coughing, you're touching your hair, you're fixing your hat, you're fixing your phone, all of this stuff starts, all of these twitching and fidgeting starts as soon as you go into salah. This is distraction. This is a distraction from shaitan, it could be. And so we should be calm and composed, and we should be focused in our salah.
That's another question.
Yes, sir.
So like turbans and stuff.
Yeah.
Technically, say like you wear it very low.
Yeah.
So this is a wajib.
Does your forehead have to start the ground, touch the ground? It's not wajib. Your sujood.
Perform prostration with forehead and nose.
No, as in the question, no, as in for it to touch.
Yeah.
We're not saying bare.
Oh, it doesn't have to be
For the limb, now the separate issue is, is it allowed to be covered? Is it allowed to be covered? We're talking about, this is talking about for it to actually touch, as in your head to be on the ground.
Okay.
As for are you allowed to have a cover, there is a difference of opinion. It's preferred that you should expose it, but nonetheless it is jaiz, because we're not so rigid with the essence of touching the ground that we have to carry stones and etc. It's still valid for you to do prostration on top of carpet and on top of your headgear as well. It's jaiz, and inshallah you'll be fine in that regard. Okay, now
One more question.
yes, sir.
So I've come across this thing here, but I don't necessarily do it because I don't know if it's correct or I don't know the ruling behind it. But for example, some of my friends, when they're like leading salah, they like make a big issue of covering their hair. What's the ruling behind it?
It's from the sunnah, isn't it? Covering your hair is from the sunnah. So the idea is that you should be in the best form. خُذُوا زِينَتَكُمْ عِنْدَ كُلِّ مَسْجِدٍ. Try to be in your optimal form according to the sunnah, especially when you pray. And this is from the Quranic instructions. So if someone only wore their hat and covered themselves more, someone taking the car? Only wore their hat and they covered themselves properly during salah, then this is good because Allah is instructing it. You might be like, okay, but you don't dress like that normally. Normally you're wearing a t-shirt. Why are you wearing a thobe now for? I'm wearing a thobe because Allah told me to look my best in salah and cover myself as much as possible. Wear loose garments. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't know why some people want to problematize that. They're like, why are you wearing a hat now? Why are you wearing a hat in salah? You don't want to wear a hat normally. Well, khalas, I want to wear a hat in salah. What's your problem? Let me wear my hat, man. What's wrong with you? And plus, I want to be as close to the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Because the Prophet used to cover his head. He used to wear imama. And he used to wear a hat, according to many narrations. A qalansuwa. Okay. There is actually a small booklet called Crown of the Believer, which talks about all of the evidences for the fact that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to cover his hat and was to wear a hat. So wear a hat and cover his head, where the imam of course is established. So if someone wants to especially wear a hat for salah, then alhamdulillah is good, it's praiseworthy. In fact, if you go to in Bangladesh, and maybe things are changing now, there would be a time when you would find nobody without a hat in salah. Even the man doesn't doesn't wear a hat at all, he will wear a hat in masjid. What's wrong with that? Why do people have a problem with that? It's a good thing, it's sunnah, they're following the sunnah, let them. Yes, maybe he should be more consistent outside of the salah too, so it's good. But again, remember, it's a sunnah, and so therefore you can't be bashing someone or really being harsh with someone over that. Yes, sir.
So is saying Sami Allahu liman hamida wajib or sunnah?
It's sunnah. Sunnah. Okay, now we're going to go to the practical demonstration. Are you guys ready? Shall I stand up?
Yes, please.
But then if I stand up, I'll be facing opposite direction of the Qibla. I'll be like, look at this Imam is teaching people. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to change it to camera 2 today. For those who didn't know, we have 3 cameras. And today you're going to see the side angle. There we go. Allah, Allah, look at that. You don't have to do anything. Allahu Akbar. Alright, let's do this. Everyone can see me? Okay.
Should I move away?
No, you're fine now. I'll just zoom it in a bit. Zoom it up a bit. Khalas, you're going to be in the shot. And if you don't want to be in the shot, then you can just move a bit this way. Or over here so you can see from the front. Okay, gentlemen, respected brothers and sisters, I'll face this camera for today. So this is a practical demonstration of how you would technically do Salah. This is the Qibla. As for the conditions, the 7 conditions before Salah, what do you have to make sure of? First and foremost is you're in a state of wudu and ghusl. Second condition, khalas, you can remind me if you got it written, if I forget. Let me get the microphone a bit closer. First condition was I have wudu, I have ghusl, alhamdulillah. Second condition, my body, my clothes and my place are clean, alhamdulillah. Third condition, that my body is covered, alhamdulillah, covered. Remember we said about brothers and sisters as well, and especially for men, be careful of your lower back, especially from behind, because sometimes it gets exposed, especially if you're wearing the normal jeans or shirts and trousers. For sisters, your whole body must be covered. That's a part of your aura, except for your hand, face and feet. Number 4, you have to make sure that the waqt of the salah is entered. So now it's Maghrib time technically still. So you have to, whatever salah you're about to pray, make sure the time is right and make sure you're praying on time. Number 5, you've got to make sure that the Qibla, you're facing Qibla. Alhamdulillah, I'm facing Qibla. Okay, this is the Qibla towards this way. Number 6, what is it, Arif?
Intention for Salah.
Intention. I make my intention in my mind. If I'm going to pray alone, oh Allah, in my mind I'm saying this. I'm saying this in my mind. Just because I'm saying it loudly, I don't want someone to misunderstand me and say this guy is teaching us to say intention with your tongue. I'm saying in my mind. So in my mind I'm saying, oh Allah, I'm praying 3 rak'at of Maghrib Salah, 3 rak'at of Maghrib Salah alone. I make the intention in my mind, and then after that, I say Allahu Akbar. I raise my hands up to my ears, and my ears are gapped. Not my ears, so my fingers are gapped, and my fingers are facing towards the Qibla. My feet too are also facing towards the Qibla. My entire body is facing towards the Qibla. My fingers, my toes, my body, my head, my entirety is facing towards the Qibla. I'll raise it and I say Allahu Akbar up to my ear level. Allahu Akbar. So Allahu Akbar. So I've fulfilled the wajib, the fard, the wajib and the sunnah by doing it in this particular order, this particular way. Allahu Akbar. The next step, I bring these hands down and I put my left hand first, just below the belly button, and the right hand on top, just below the belly button. Now, of course, we're saying below the belly button. If someone does over the belly button, or a bit higher, or even in their chest, it's not a crime. It's not a crime. These are all from the Sunan, but according to the Hanafi school of law, it's encouraged that you put it just below the navel. You've done takbirah, and then you've folded your arms. After that, of course, throughout the entire salah, the ruh of the salah, the spirit of the salah, is that you're focused. You're focused. In this whole process, you're focused on Allah. You're praying in front of Allah, you're praying for Allah. So while you're focused, you say, Subhanak Allahum wa bihamdik wa tabarak asmuk wa ta'ala jadduk wa la ilaha ghayruk. If you understand what that means, it's so beautiful. Subhanak Allahum, all praise is due to you, Ya Allah. You are the most praiseworthy. Wa bihamdik, and all thanks and gratitude is to you. Wa tabarak asmuk, and your names are blessed. Wa ta'ala jadduk wa la ilaha ghayruk. There is none worthy of worship besides you. You say the thala, and the next thing you say, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Of course, if it's a quiet salah, you say it quiet. If it's a loud salah, like Maghrib, if you're praying, even if you're praying alone, you can say it loudly. In fact, it's preferred that you say it loudly. Even if you're praying alone. If you're praying in Jama'ah, of course, you're the Imam, you say it loudly. If you're Muqtadi, you stay quiet.
You didn't say it for Maghrib.
Huh?
You didn't say it for Maghrib.
I made intention of Maghrib, didn't I?
No, but you didn't say A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajim.
I say it quietly.
Oh,
Oh, sorry, yes, I'm saying the A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajim. So I meant A'udhu Billahi, this is quiet, but the Fatiha is coming loud. So maybe say Allahu Akbar. A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajim. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Yes, thank you for that correction. First time we did this practical, so it's good. The hadith is useful afterward, right? A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajim. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Say it quietly. Then, if you're the Imam, or if you're praying alone, you say the following part loudly for Maghrib, because we made intention for Maghrib, right? If you're a Muqtadi following, you say it quietly. Or you stay silent. After the Thana, after Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika tabarak asmuk wa ta'ala jadduka wa la ilaha ghayruk. Assuming that you're praying alone, or you're praying as the Imam, I will give the following instructions. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin, Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'een, Ihdina as-sirata al-mustaqim, صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. آمين. كل الحنف تقول say quiet. آمين. Don't say آمين. You can say it loudly. It's also from the Sunnah. The next is you say a surah. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. From the Sunnah of Maghrib Salah is that you should read short surahs. For example, you say بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إذا جاء نصر الله والفتح ورأيت الناس يدخلون في دين الله أفواجا فسبح بحمد ربك واستغفره إنه كان توابا. While you're standing, your eyes are over here. Of course, I'm looking around now because this is a demonstration, but my eyes should be there in my place of sujood. If someone wants to close their eyes, is it allowed? It's allowed if it's going to help them to focus. Because I get questions sometimes. Why do you close your eyes on your... Because sometimes you don't stick the camera in someone's face, you can see if they're closing their eyes and opening their eyes. I close my eyes a lot of the time because it helps me focus. Especially when you're reading without looking. It helps you to focus. And it's jaiz. It's allowed. But sunnah is to look. But if it's going to help you to focus in salah, you're allowed to close your eyes. But the sunnah is that you look. And you look at the place of prostration. You finish your first Fatiha and Surah. Then you go to ruku'. Your hands are tied after you say Fatiha and a Surah. You say Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar is during the movement. During the Athna al-Haraka, while you're moving. Allahu Akbar. And you go to ruku' like this, yeah? You bow down from your... I think I've got lower back, not so healthy. But yeah, you're supposed to keep your back, entire back as straight as possible. Okay? Your feet are still facing forward towards Qibla. Your hands, you're gripping on your knees. You're straightening your legs like that. Your back is straight. Your head is in line with your back. And now you're looking at your toes. Or if that's too difficult, look at your place of sujood. But you know, the book said to look at your toes. This is the ruku' position. I'm going to spin around a bit, just so that everyone can see. Are you guys? Is my back okay? Is it quite straight? Yeah. Khalas, good. So while you're in ruku' like this, Subhana Rabbi al-Azim, Subhana Rabbi al-Azim, Subhana Rabbi al-Azim, 3 times quietly. Means, praise be to my Lord who is the greatest, the great, al-Azim, the great.
So does it matter if your head like straight down or like the angle of your head?
No, it should be straight. It should be in line with your back. The back, it's like an L shape.
So your head should be like flat.
Yeah.
Your head is flat.
Okay, alright. Alright, take it easy on me, man. This guy came to grill me. It is straight. Maybe my hat is in. Your head's not straight. Okay, that's the ruku' done.
1 second. So is it sunnah to just like...
Come over here so I can see you.
Well, I mean, now you can see.
I'll go.
You can just say any, like you can say Subhana Rabbil Azim.
Or you can say other tasbihat as well.
How many times?
3 times.
Can you make say more time?
Yeah, 3 times minimum, or 5, 7, 9 in odd numbers. Okay? Subhanallah. So your ruku', Subhana Rabbil Azim 3 times or more, or any other dua that you know, but Subhanallah, we'll keep it simple. And say, Sami'a Allahu liman hamida. Okay? If you're praying alone, you say it quietly. If you're praying as imam, you say it loudly. Sami'a Allahu liman hamida. You stand and say, Rabbana lakal hamd. You can say that, or you can say more. Hamdan kathiran tayyiban mubarakan fi. Okay? That's the ruku' done. Your hands on the side. And then you go to sujood now. Allahu Akbar. Knees first. Hand second. Forehead and nose. So that, yeah? Now in sujood you say Subhana Rabbiyal A'la, Subhana Rabbiyal A'la, Subhana Rabbiyal A'la. 3 times. You guys see the process? So let me do that again. Okay, can everyone see me? Let's just face this way. So ربنا لك الحمد حمدا كثيرا طيبا مباركا فيه. Allahu Akbar. Knees, hands. Hands, maybe it's hand, but they should be tightly. Fingers should be tightly. Allahu Akbar. Forehead there, and nose. These thumbs should be in line with your eyes. Subhana Rabbiyal A'la, Subhana Rabbiyal A'la, Subhana Rabbiyal A'la. Then you sit down after the first sajda, like this. Which is, your hands are tight and it's in line with your knees. SubhanAllah, I remember my dad, he taught us when we were kids, SubhanAllah. Allah bless him, have mercy upon him. Okay? Subhanallah, and now you say, Allahumma ghfirli, or any other dua you can say here. It's time for dua, you can make any short dua. This is of course the front, how it looks. This is the side, how it looks. I'll let you go over this way. Like this. This is how the back looks. You're sitting on your left foot, and you're leaning on your right foot, and your right toes are angled towards the qibla, towards the front. It's a bit hard for new learners, but it's okay. If it's hard for you, khalas, you do it like that, or you do it, but you gradually try to reach that process, or that position. Subhanallah. That's it. And then you go for the second sujood. Allahu Akbar. Again, making sure that your toes, your knees, your hands, your forehead, these are the 7 bones. Your toes, your knees, your hands and your forehead, 7 bones are touching the ground, and your nose is also touching the ground. Subhana Rabbiyal A'la, Subhana Rabbiyal A'la, Subhana Rabbiyal A'la. Your elbows should not be touching the ground. They should be raised. There should be enough gap here. Should be a gap here. Okay? Should be a gap there. And your elbow should be raised.
Is that for females as well?
For female there is a slight variation, but let's finish this. But according to a lot of scholars, men, women prayer is the same. Okay. But in the Hanafi books you'll find that women's prayer is slightly different. It's astar, it's more maintaining their aura, maintaining their satar, maintaining their hijab or their shyness, whatever. So there is that. There are narrations regarding that. So we're doing this salah, the men's salah first, or the default salah first, if you like. So you said that in Subhanallah. When you go to sujood, also remember that your elbow should be not touching the ground. If someone is next to you in sajda, don't start hitting the guy. Some people start elbowing you in salah. Relax, but I need to pray as well. But someone is fully elbowing you up. Okay? I forgot to mention also when you're standing, of course, if you're praying in jama'ah, there should be no gaps. So that means you should be shoulder to shoulder, feet to feet, khalas, feet to feet, okay. But say for example, according to some of the opinions, you shouldn't do feet to feet. But some people will not appreciate that, and they will want to make it feet to feet. So they make it so wide that then the shoulders are not touching anymore. So main thing is your rows are straight and you fill up the gaps. Shoulder to shoulder, feet to feet. Here, you make it like that. But you shouldn't make this feet to feet issue into like a combat. I'm not saying that for inhuman. I'm being as in seriously. Sometimes someone get very upset over that. According, there is a ikhtilaf in the mas'ala. If somebody doesn't want to touch their feet, then it is jais for them not to. Your salah is not dependent upon it. Okay? Shoulder to shoulder, feet to feet. Khalas, I will say that. Okay? Fill up all of the gaps.
close the gaps, make the road straight, and focus in the salah. This is extremely important as well. Some people are more focused on other people's salah. I had one brother, a friend of mine, he came and told me that a musalli who was praying behind him came to him after salah and told him, Ya Imam, in your... No, he didn't even say tell him. This musalli is praying behind the Imam. Imam is doing this in sujood, yeah? This musalli guy, brother, comes in salah and is touching his body trying to correct his movements. So Imam's like, what on earth are you doing? You should be praying over there behind me. You're here. What are you doing next to me? SubhanAllah. And it wasn't one of those like major issues that break your salah. It was like a different upon mas'ala of one of the sunan, for example. Again, just to be clear, we don't say sunnah lightly, but we're saying sunnah in the fiqh sense of categorization. Okay? Hukum shari'i sunnah in that sense. Okay, right. So we've done the second sujood. So we're in the second sajda. In the sajda, you can say Subhan Rabbil A'la 3 times, or you can say Sabuhun Quddus Rabbul Malaikatu Ruh, any other du'as. After that, you say, you get up on the second rak'ah. Allah. So you reverse what you've done. Forehead first, hands like that, knees, then feet. If you want to support yourself with your knuckles or your hands, this is also possible, and this is also jaiz. Okay? Then you stand up and you tie your hands again. Second rak'ah. Now you don't say A'udhu Billah again because you've already said A'udhu Billah at the beginning. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Malik Yawmiddin. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. During this process, you're standing straight. Of course, all the conditions we've said before. Your arms are tied below the navel, on the navel, above the navel, a bit higher. Like when the Hanafis is slightly below the navel. Okay, and you're looking at the place of your prostration. Your whole body is facing towards Qibla, you're focused on Salah, you're conversating with Allah, you're in the presence of Allah, you have that full focus that you are worshipping Allah and Allah is in front of you and Allah can see you. Right? So you said Fatiha and then Ameen, you can say it quietly, you can say it loudly, but according to Hanafi scholars, quietly. And then you add another surah. You say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. And then you say, for example, قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ الْفَلَقِ مِنْ شَرِّ مَا خَلَقَ وَمِنْ شَرِّ غَاسِقٍ إِذَا وَقَبَ وَمِنْ شَرِّ النَّفَّاثَاتِ فِي الْعُقَدِ وَمِنْ شَرِّ حَاسِدٍ إِذَا حَسَدَ. This, you've said this, falaq, right? But in this entire process, you're supposed to be focused in the conversation with Allah. Okay, you should try to make sure your ahkam and tajweed is maintained when you're praying. The whole point of you learning Quran properly so that you can talk to Allah properly with it. So we have to learn tajweed enough to be able to recite our surah of salah properly, correctly. With that, the second rak'ah tilawah is finished. Then we repeat the process. Allahu Akbar. Of course, there is raf' al-yadayn, according to other schools of law, which is a sunnah as well, authentic, one of the most authentic sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, according to other schools of law. And if you are Hanafi and you still want to do it, nothing can stop you as a sunnah. Okay? So, raf' al-yadayn you do before the ruku' and after the ruku' and so on. So, Allahu Akbar, you go to ruku'. Subhana Rabbi. And again, remember, your legs are straight, your back is straight, your hands are straight, you're holding your knees, your eyes are on your toes. Subhana Rabbi al-Azim, Subhana Rabbi al-Azim, Subhana Rabbi al-Azim. Sami'a Allahu liman hamidah. ربنا لك الحمد حمدا كثيرا طيبا مباركا فيه. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى, سبحان ربي الأعلى, سبحان ربي الأعلى. الله أكبر. اللهم اغفر لي. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى, سبحان ربي الأعلى, سبحان ربي الأعلى. الله أكبر. 2 rak'at done. As in it's about to be done. Now you sit down. This is the tahiyyat position, the tashahhud position. Same as last time. This is your feet structure. Some, according to the schools, I think there is also tawarruk like this. And this way. This is also jaiz back on the Hanafi. You sit like that. Okay? And you sit here. And you have your eyes on your lap. It's التحيات لله والصلوات والطيبات. السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله.
according to Hanafi school of law, you only raise your finger at Ashhadu an la, index finger, you raise Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. And then you lower it, but you leave the index finger sticking out. وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أن اللهم صل على محمد, and you leave your index finger sticking out until the end of the salah. In other schools of law, you'll have some brothers who will raise it from the beginning. Some brothers will do it, they will do up, flick it like that. That's also from the sunnah. And that's also, I heard one guy was flicking his finger, and another guy grabbed his finger and tried to break it for him. This is kind of junoon we have sometimes in certain communities. It's all from the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, and we should appreciate and respect that. But according to the Hanafi school of law, you pray like this. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. Yeah? And then, so now if it was Fajr, that's it, you're done. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. You have the index finger sticking out still. And your rest of the fingers are in line with your knee and they're closing the gaps. Okay? Your back is straight, your feet is in the right position and you're looking at the lap. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammadin. Quietly, of course. كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم إني ظلمت نفسي ظلما كثيرا ولا يغفر الذنوب إلا أنت فاغفر لي مغفرة من عندك وارحمني إنك أنت الغفور الرحيم. If you just suffice with التحيات, your salah will be valid. The wajibat is finished up to التحيات. As for Allahumma salli, Allahumma barik, Allahumma inni dhalamtu, these are from the sunnah, not from the wajibat. However, you finish up to Allahumma inni dhalamtu or any other dua, you know, you want to make after that, you can make any dua after that, after the salawat of Muhammad. Then you say, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Looking towards the right shoulder, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. And that's the exit of the salah. That's if it was 2 rak'ah. However, if it was a 3 rak'ah salah, like for example in Maghrib, I can make the intention for, then after only at-tahiyyat, before Allahumma salli, أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله, you stand up, Allahu Akbar. Fold your arms as is, as you should do. And now you say quietly, you should whisper and you should hear yourself, but you shouldn't disturb others. Like that, quietly. Okay, it's in the second rak'ah, you recite the recitation. Sorry, the third rak'ah or in the fourth rak'ah, you do it quietly. And then you go to sajda, same process. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. If it was third rak'ah, that's it. This is your station. Now, in the first sitting, you only done at-tahiyyat. In the second sitting, it's at-tahiyyatu lillah. Again now, at-tahiyyatu lillahi was-salawatu wat-tayyibat. Assalamu alayka. Let me face this way for this one. التحيات لله والصلوات والطيبات السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل اللهم بارك اللهم إني ظلمت السلام عليكم ورحمة الله السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. That's if it's 3 rak'ah. If it's 4 rak'ah, like Asr, like Isha, like Dhuhr, then you add, instead of sitting down at the third, you do 1 more rak'ah like that.
What's the danger? Say like someone starts taking parts from Allah and then it's like combining. For example,
let's stick to 1 for now. Let's learn 1 first.
what if someone does that?
We spoke about this. We spoke about Talfiq in a previous lesson, and I don't want to speak about it now. But generally, when you're praying, especially, you should try to stick to 1, especially the Salah. Pray according to 1.
Question.
Yes.
When you're in sajda, like, is there a particular position your feet have to follow?
Yeah, feet should be. There's 2 ways. The feet, the toes should be together, or the heels should be together. They should be generally together, not too wide apart. But if they're wide apart, because we haven't seen anything in the Sunnah or the Adab with regards to that, so I wouldn't be too worried about that.
And similarly, when you end the salah, is there a particular way where like the way you term to end the salah, like when you give in salah from one end to another.
What about, it's just like,
Because
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Like that.
Sometimes I see people do like this.
No, this all is, I don't know where it's from. Wallah ma fi, ana ma araf shi haq. I've seen in Egypt. I don't know. Wallah, maybe there is something from the Allahu alam, but from these basics, primer, beginner level salah that we've seen in our primer, this is what we know. You stick to the script.
Ruku or sujood. If someone says once, is it okay?
One would suffice, but to say it 3 times is sunnah.
And then just after tahiyyat, if they say assalamu alaikum.
This is also wajib is complete, but sunnah is remaining.
Say in every prayer, farz or sunnah.
It doesn't matter. After tahiyyatu is wajib, Allahumma salli, Allahumma barik, Allahumma inna is from the sunnah, which means you must do. But if, for example, today you're in a very, very big rush, and you just have to do, you want to do just the wajib, then after tahiyyat will suffice. Someone is going to say, why are you going to rush in salah? Salah is the most, yes we know, yes Habib, we know, salah is the most important thing. We're not telling you to rush, we're saying if in the case of emergency, someone needed to, then this wajib would be sufficing. Any other questions?
And regarding the after the salah we pray, like we raise our hand.
Yeah.
But as far as I know, lots of Prophet Muhammad used to say lots of dua in sujood, lots of dua before salah. But in our community, what we say and what is so is just after the salam that we will just.
We don't want to do, I don't want to talk about that mas'ala because it's a separate issue outside salah. It's a separate talk, but look, yes, you're correct. The Prophet ﷺ made adhkar and he made ad'iyah. But the whole mas'ala of joining, doing dua in congregation, we don't do that in Darul Ummah. And that mas'ala has been dealt with by the scholars before. But again, I appreciate that it's an important mas'ala and some people are very, very, very keen on it, while others are very much against it. And it's important to have a balance and not be an extreme, especially where there is ittisa' and mus'a and when there is ikhtilaf that is valid perhaps. But nonetheless, the Prophet ﷺ, from his daily system of salah, it was that he would say salam, Allahumma nasta'inuka wa nastaghfiruka. We don't know, there is no, wallahu a'lam, someone can educate me. But from the sunnah is not that you should together in a congregation do dua every single time. For exceptional circumstances, these are exceptional circumstances, but for every single day, Allahu a'lam. But does doing it make it constitute to be such a big crime such that it should be that such masjid should be called slurs and names and etc. and branded X, Y, and Z? That's a separate mas'ala. But I would prefer to avoid this topic and leave it for another day, for another occasion. For now, we'll try to stick to the salah itself.
Can you go through the different ways of praying social there's few different ways.
Not today, because it's too much. Because just once salah, there's more masail, inshallah, maybe next lesson we can do about sajdat al-sahwu and talk more about these issues. But for your information, next lesson is not going to be next week, because I'm going to Egypt inshallah, on Sunday, and I'll be coming back the day before Eid. So I'll see you on Eid day, from Sunday. Inshallah. Huh? Women pray, we'll talk about that as well, inshallah. Stick to simple salah for today, so that it doesn't get confusing, and also we've run out of time now. I think it's time for Isha as well. So you can do your, inshallah, beautiful adhan. Okay, yes, the time is now here. Let me adjust the microphone. Sorry, the camera, so. Are you ready for adhan? Yes.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله 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 أشهد أن لا إله إ أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا